Happy Thursday, everyone! If you are participating in NaNoWriMo, I hope your words are flowing and you are quickly headed towards that end goal, whatever it may be. I can't believe we're already halfway through the month. If you've been feeling like you're lagging or struggling to keep up with that writing push, check out my video on finding writing motivation, especially during NaNoWriMo. I'll put the link below. But for those of you writing sci-fi and fantasy, one of the key questions you had to ask yourself when creating your world was, what should you do about any alien or foreign language? And this is a huge and sometimes tricky topic in the writing community. For any of you Fourth Wing fans out there, you might have heard that Rebecca Yarros got in a bit of hot water for her misuse and mispronunciation of the Gallic language. And to be clear, I'm a fan of the Fourth Wing books. I think they're a ton of fun, and I plan on finishing Iron Flame. I haven't finished it yet, so no spoilers. The issue is not unique to this series. It's been a problem in sci-fi and fantasy for a long time. So the big question is, if you're writing a science fiction or fantasy story and you need a language for some aspect of the world building, do you use an existing language or create a new one? After reading the article I mentioned earlier, you might feel like the obvious answer is to just create a new one. I mean, it worked for Tolkien, right? Creating a language can be a beautiful, fun part of the creative process. But depending on the depth and use of the language in your story, this can also get tricky. Language, communication in general, is a beautifully complicated thing, as you are very well aware after putting in all the hard work to become a writer. Unless your language is just a few words here and there that you could randomize letters for, creating a realistic language is going to be an important factor in the believability of your world. There will be patterns, rules, and structure to the language, just as there is with every other language out there. It needs to feel real. And because of this, creating your own language can be something authors shy away from for a few reasons. First, it is a ton of work. You've already pushed to create your world, your characters, your plot, and now you have to take it one step further. Not everyone wants to dive that deeply into the creative process, and I don't blame them. And second, readers are awesome, but they are smart. They like to pick things apart, find the beauty in the story, yes, but also the flaws. And that includes the language, how it's used and when. So this may or may not be something that you want to have as a focus in your story. So if you aren't wanting to create your own, should you use an existing language? It's totally doable, and sometimes what makes the most sense for the characters and the world. But you want to make sure you're using it correctly and that you have a good reason why you chose it. As you saw from the Fourth Wing article, the biggest complaint against the use of the Gallic language in her book was twofold. First, it wasn't always spelled or used correctly, which was underlined by the fact that the author herself mispronounced the words in an interview, which, while not great, probably would have blown over, except it was a question specifically on the right way to pronounce them, which is what got her in hot water. And second, there didn't seem to be a good reason why to use that language in that book. Now, the author may have had her reasons. I don't know. She hasn't responded yet to the questions on her use of the Gallic language to explain more. But the general complaint, and the issue that a lot of fantasy books especially run into, is that they use a language because it looks cool or foreign or fits the aesthetic that they're looking for, which can be incredibly disrespectful to the culture that language is from. But with all that being said, there are a lot of fantasy books that do right by their use of different languages in their story. It's researched carefully and worked into the world building so that it makes sense with the legend and lore of why that language is included. They also probably had someone or several someones who are native speakers of that language look over the story, essentially a sensitivity read. So which way is the right way for your book? As you can tell, there are pros and cons to each, but the biggest thing is to move forward with what you think is best for your story, your characters, and with respect for the language, real or imagined, that you use. Hopefully this has been helpful. For those of you in the midst of NaNoWriMo, best of luck as you race to the finish line. Don't forget to like and subscribe, it really helps the channel, and until next time, keep writing.